Hey, Liam, are you okay? I haven't seen you in a few days.
I have looked into the void and seen madness. It consumes my every waking hour. It haunts my dreams. I seek to decipher the hidden truth. See beyond.
Should I be worried? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I've been playing Path of Exile too, and looking at the skill tree. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Hi, welcome to Scat Dad Gaming. So, today I want to talk about something different. I should shave my head a bit. So anyway, I want to talk about the early access ARPG game Path of Exile 2 and my filthy casual opinions. So if you don't know what an ARPG is, it's an action role-playing game, which means a top-down Diablo-like game. See, I made a joke about the tweet. So yeah, Path of Exile 2. I'm actually going to call it PO 2 in a bit because I'm going to say it a lot in this video. So PO 2 is currently in early access, and you can get a copy for about 27-ish money, so it's not too bad, you know. Or you can wait 6 months to a year and the game will be released for free, which is pretty good, to be honest. So I have enough hours in the original PO that I think I'm pretty happy buying a game for even like way more than it's like sold for on Steam right now. First of all, take my opinions with a pinch of salt. I mean, just because I've got a camera and a microphone, it doesn't really add that much weight to my opinions, it just makes them a little bit louder, okay? So I consider myself a casual enjoyer of ARPGs, so I spent a bit of time with Diablo 2, I spent a lot of time with Diablo 3, I recently got Diablo 4, which I'm actually enjoying, which is an opinion which seems like a crime if you go online and look at the Diablo 4 subreddit. Seriously, I don't think anyone in that subreddit likes the game they're playing, but that could just be a Reddit thing. Yeah, and I've never played the original Diablo. It was too old. It came out when I was quite young, so, you know. I've spent my fair share of time with the original Path of Exile, but I never really got into the hardcore grinding for materials and doing the best upgrades. There was always like a step beyond me. And I've got a few other games. Oh, I've got a few hundred hours in Lost Ark too. You know, I've played my fair share of ARPGs, but I never really delved too deep into them. I mean, come on, just look at the skill tree from Path of Exile. Look at, seriously, this thing gives me anxiety. This thing is a thing of nightmares. Yeah. So, if you want to hear my quick TLDR opinion of PO 2 and Dip, it's freaking awesome. In my short time with this game, I would say it's my favorite ARPG, hands down. It plays a little bit slower, takes a little bit more thought than some of the other ARPG games, and I'd say a little bit more skill. You can't just rely on a build, you have to kind of put a little bit of effort in when you play. And maybe I've got some recency bias as I've been playing this the last few days, but damn is it a good game, let alone just an ARPG. Good game, recommend. There you go, there's your clip. So I had to let Sasha out, otherwise if I don't, there will be howling in the background, and not just cute meows. Sasha only does wahs like Luigi. There are only wahs in this house, so alright. So my pet peeve with some games, and if you like playing games like this, I'm not attacking you and I'm not saying your way of playing games is wrong, I'm just saying my opinion. But I get my fun from playing games by experimenting with builds, you know. I like to see what works and what doesn't. I get enjoyment from tweaking something and just being creative with, you know, like how I go about something. And I get a bit annoyed when I'm playing a game and people start criticizing you because you're not using X build or you're not using X items because, you know, you're not using the currently established meta build. And this is a problem I've seen in a lot of games, not just Path of Exile, but one I've certainly encountered in Path of Exile, where I've been told by people that I'm playing the game wrong because I can't clear a map in like a minute. But you know, each to their own. So a perfect example off the top of my head. So this happened a few years back. So I was casually into Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I know, Magic cardboard is addictive. But so I had a few decks that I built and I tweaked, you know, I'm pretty happy with them. I had a good run, you know, I'd lose a few, I'd win a few, but to be honest, losing was really often like a really good way to learn and adapt a deck. So, you know, I do like a best of 3 where playing people and you have a side deck which you can add and tweak and stuff, you know, all good stuff and all good fun. So I got one of my friends into Magic the Gathering, and less than a week later he turns up and he, you know, we play and his deck absolutely destroys mine, which, you know, fair enough, I'm not claiming to be amazing at the game. So I ask about his deck, and he just went online, googled what the world champion deck was, went to a shop, spent like $100 and bought it, and, you know, and he trashed me. And, you know, so from my point of view, there's been little thought put into it. None of this creative process, you know, and if that's how he gets his fun, so be it. But to me, I feels like he missed out on what I consider to be like a huge part of the game. You know, like you've kind of taken out all the creativity. You've taken out all the creativity and boiled it down to just winning only. And like I said, that's fine for you, but for me, that's a big nana. So this is why I'm really excited for Path of Exile 2. So jumping in at early access is definitely helping with this, as the builds are yet to be established and everything feels really fresh and new to me. And eventually, I mean, looking online, there's already builds popping up, but like, at least for now, there's not like established builds like you have to play the Fire Sorcerer, although that seems to be quite common. But you know, for now I have a lot of stuff that I'm free to play with, and admittedly I can just ignore other people's opinions, which I usually do. But you know, this is just my opinion. So anyway, I'll give some pros and cons and my opinions on Path of Exile 2. So first of all, Path of Exile 2 fucks hard. It's such a good game, but I keep seeing the term Dark Souls of ARPGs gets thrown around a lot. And honestly, I can't really say much on that, as I never really got into Dark Souls. Ooh. I played the original when the PC port came out. It was a really bad port. If you don't trust me, go try it. It's pretty bad. And like, you know, there's certain choices to me that felt clunky rather than challenging, like having a lack of a map. You know, but I slugged away for 20 hours. I put a bit of time with it. Got frustrated with a few bosses. There was one I can't remember what it's called, but there was a dude in a room with 2 dogs and a really crappy camera angle. Yeah, good stuff. If you play Dark Souls, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so my experience with Dark Souls isn't exactly the best, but you know, I did enjoy Code Vein, which I've heard called Dark Souls with anime titties, so maybe I'll dip back into Dark Souls in the future. So yeah, I will say though, this is the most challenging ARPG I've played. I think this boils down to a shift in how to approach the game. Like other ARPGs, I just rush through a map, spam my abilities, you know, pew pew pew, and then I move on to the next group of enemies. There's like zero thought, zero effort, it's just spam and go. Which is especially true in Diablo 4, I've got to say. Where I probably should up the difficulty after hitting Paragon levels. They're like bonus levels after you've reached the level cap. But I kind of don't want to, as I'm running around the map looking for live statues, so I'm kind of like speedrunning Diablo 4. I have to say as well, I only have like footage of like the first 2 hours of Path of Exile 2 because I didn't realize the game was like 100 gigs and I had Diablo 4, which is also like 100 gigs, and then I didn't have space for recording. So the Path of Exile is limited to like the first couple hours of gameplay, so just a heads up. So okay, the gameplay in Path of Exile 2 though feels completely different to me. You have dodge rolls, and it definitely feels more like an action-y kind of game rather than like just spammy abilities. I found I had to move around the map to avoid bosses and even just powerful abilities from regular mobs. You know, in other games, like I said, in Diablo, I could just stand still and just spam abilities, except for something like Lost Ark when you're fighting a boss and there's like a huge red symbol. You know, I found I could just lazily stand around and spam my skills. And I even find in Path of Exile 2, if I start switching off completely, I start to take damage and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta heal, you know. So yeah, this changing gameplay definitely feels different to Path of Exile, which might be a good thing for you, it might not be. But as far as I'm aware, Path of Exile will be continuing to run alongside Path of Exile 2, so I mean, that's cool. Oh, okay, and man, the bosses in Path of Exile 2, there are so many bosses and sub-bosses. It like, every map there's like, have a boss, you know, it's really cool. I'm loving it, to be honest. So many bosses. I counted my time in a Diablo 4 boss, and I like smashed that boss in like, I don't know, it was like 5 to 10 seconds, you know, it wasn't particularly challenging. I just went bloop and like nuked the boss. And in Path of Exile 2, I had to like learn the patterns and kind of, maybe not learn, but it was like, you know, dodge certain abilities. And I definitely died a couple of times to a couple of bosses, you know, I'm not gonna lie. But I will say, in Diablo 4, I am a bit overpowered, so maybe it's not a fair, like, you know, like, reference. Like, I'm looking at the beginning of Path of Exile 2 versus, like, later game content of Diablo 4 when I should be playing a harder content. So maybe it's not a fair, like, contrast, but I do say the bosses in Diablo 4 have been a bit meh in comparison, you know. I was playing So I was playing Path of Exile 2. And I was like, this is good, but you know, I was just kind of like, it's just like an all ARPG game to me. And then I got to the first boss, and I think hands down, the first boss is what made me fall in love with the game. Like, I was sold. As soon as I got to the first boss, I was like, this game is for me. And I don't think it was a proper boss, I think it was like the first sub-boss, you know? But yeah, as soon as I got into that, I was like, yeah, this game is for me. And like, there was one boss, it was like the second sub-boss, and like, I had to like fight it 3-4 times or something, you know, which isn't a lot of times, you know, playing things like Code Vein. But for an ARPG game, having to redo a boss a couple of times, it's like, that's crazy to me. So changing builds in Path of Exile 2 is definitely much easier. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than the original Path of Exile. It feels like they definitely want you to be more flexible and to be able to change stuff, which is really cool. I think it's still a little bit expensive than Path of Exile 2, but still enough to be flexible. Yeah, although I will say this is one thing I think has been done really well in Diablo 4, where I've been refunding and changing my skills like every couple of maps, you know, like I've been changing my build to reflect stuff. So originally I had a different ultimate skill for my necromancer that you can see in the background footage I'm going to use. But then I found a bit of loot that extended the time, the power, and the amount of times an ability called Bone Trigger Storms. So at which point I have 2 ultimates, or I have a couple to choose from. Now it means Bone Storm is freaking epic. So I changed my build, purchased Bone Storm. So, you know, I've been like tweaking my skills and my build to kind of reflect the loot I picked up, which is something I haven't really been doing in Path of Exile 2. But I have been tweaking the build a little bit as I go in Path of Exile 2, so it's not like static, you know. But speaking of loot, I'm so hungry for loot Path of Exile 2. Please help a guy out. I'm begging you. Seriously, the loot is so freaking sparse compared to the loot fountain of the original Path of Exile. On one hand, it's good, as I don't ignore half the loot dropped. I mean, in Path of Exile, I literally had a mod to like ignore half the loot. You know, it was like, are you rare? No, get out of here, you know. Which is, so okay, this is kind of a good thing because it means I'm spending my time with each bit of loot. But fuck me, do I need my dopamine hit? Like, I need the Diablo 4 loot fountain, or Path of Exile is like, pew, pew, loot, shinies, you know. Like, my brain likes all the shiny stuff, okay? I need to get my dopamine from somewhere, as my ADHD brain says, no, none for you, good day, sir. So yeah, please give me more loot. The speed of Path of Exile 2 is also slower and more methodical than like Diablo 3 or Diablo 4, which is a preference thing. I quite like the speed of Diablo 4. I like being able to just like through a map. Especially Path of Exile was the same after I played for a while. But I also really like Path of Exile 2 being slower. I think both are fine. They're both working for me. They're doing different things, but they're both hitting that, you know. Yeah, but it's just something to take note of because I know the speed in games is a big factor. Some people, they saying like, oh, I don't like Diablo's 4 ADHD Twitch speed, you know, which is fair, you know, but just something to take note of. So I also tried the co-op in Path of Exile 2. It's pretty good. I was on the fence. So I was on the fence to buy Diablo 4 a while ago, as I wanted to get some couch co-op, you know. And I went online and I saw that you can play Diablo 4 couch co-op on consoles, but not on PC. And I was like, what the fuck, Blizzard? And online, people kept scoffing, being like, huh, why would you need couch co-op on PC? And my plan was to break out some controllers, run a HDMI cable from the TV to the PC, and I wanted to get my fiance to play some games with me, because we've been playing some co-op games lately, you know, and I thought it'd be nice to play some Diablo. But no, Diablo was like, fuck you. So yeah, nearly didn't buy it. And I actually only picked up Diablo 4 recently, as I had to go see the doctors the other day. I had to go into an emergency walk-in to see a doctor because I had some random pain. And for a few days, I was waiting for blood tests, and I was in a lot of pain. I wanted a game to like blob and turn my brain off. So, you know, whilst I was waiting for like blood tests and shit, I picked up Diablo 4, and I gotta say, it was the perfect game for me to turn off and just go ham, you know. So, using the controller in Path of Exile 2 as well was really, really good. I might actually switch to using my Xbox controller, which is nuts to me. I'm not sure if I will. I've enjoyed both, but using a controller has been, quite frankly, pretty good. It almost feels like a crime to admit using a controller in an ARPG. Believe it or not, straight to jail. But yeah, I could happily pull out my controller and play. So I'm on the fence if I stick with a controller or a mouse. I'll probably stick with a mouse because I'll be lazy and can't be able to like get it out. But yeah, couch co-op was fun. Fighting mobs was good. There was no issues. Going to town wasn't as good, where you're like selling your loot and stuff. But it didn't make it unplayable. But yeah, it was a little bit near. But fighting monsters and stuff, pretty good. And Path of Exile 2 is also playable in a group of up to 6, which is neat. I haven't tried this yet. I tend to play these games solo, and I avoid people in most games. Like if you ever see me playing an MMO, I play it solo, you know. But it is nice to know that it can cover a group of up to 6. It's pretty good size. I always find online there's lots of issues when you're trying to play a game and it's like, we've got 5 people, but all these games are 4 players, or, you know. So it's really nice to see that it's got a pretty good group size. Yeah. So yeah, it can cover when it's needed. Yeah. And so far, playing Path of Exile, the game has been running fine, and I haven't really encountered any major budget bugs or issues. I did find a little bit of issues when I switched from my PC to the laptop. I was testing it, but this is just like a settings things. But if there was bugs and stuff, I feel like you get a bit of a pass being in early access anyway. So yeah. Okay. So my one issue so far is actually my only gripe with Path of Exile 2. It's actually with the maps. Seriously, what the fuck with these guys? Are they high or something? Like, every map is so freaking huge, and they're all like twiddly and like, okay, it's fine, but I feel like, take this with a pinch of salt, I feel like every map should be about 25% smaller and just have more of them or something. This might just seem like a weird nitpick, but like, the maps are massive. And I've seen people complaining about the time it takes them to get to a point if they die. I mean, there are checkpoints, but like, I died to a boss and it didn't load the checkpoint near the boss, and I had to spend like, I don't know, it's like only 5 minutes walking across the map to get back to it. But it's a little bit annoying when you just want to go straight back into the action. So yeah, my only gripe is map sizes, and that's not a deal breaker for me, and even not that big an issue. It's just one thing I will point out. On the flip side though, I will say my favorite feature of Path of Exile 2 is being able to pause the game. Such a good feature for busy people with responsibilities. Like, I've got a lot of friends who can't play games because they got children, and if they can't pause a game, they just can't play. You know, if your kids are going to cry, you can't just continue leaving a game, and some people don't like bailing. So yeah, 10 out of 10, what a good feature. Fantastic. For me, I'm not going to use, I don't really have responsibilities like kids, so for me, I'm just going to use it to pause and open the door when the cat goes, wah! You know, to be, what perfect timing. Any more wows? 3? How about 4? Oh my goodness, how about number 5? 5? Okay, number 6. 7? Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's made my day. That's such good timing. So yeah, like I said, for me, I was going to use the pause feature to like open the door when Sasha howls to be let out. I have been well trained, you know, I'm a well trained human. But yeah, these are all my quick surface opinions, and I don't want to talk about the skills and the gems too much without getting a few more days on drawing belt. I mean, the skill tree in Path of Exile 2 looks huge and intimidating. Seriously, I don't know what it is, the skill trees in Path of Exile. They are so big that they like give me anxiety. They're not like awful, but just looking at them for the first time is a little bit like, whoa. Path of Exile 2 though, even though it looks big, the skill tree is actually way easier to navigate than before. I think the ease of changing stuff makes it much easier to just go with the flow. And for example, I find it really easy just to take a path. Like, I was playing a Necromancer. You can see I like playing Necromancers in Diablo 4 and Path of Exile 2. I have minions, but yeah, in Path of Exile 2, I just clicked minions and just went up the tree, and it's really easy to follow. And there's nice features where you can just go to the skill tree and do, like, I just typed in minions, hit search, and all the nodes started glowing, which had the tag minions. So it's really easy to follow. It's just a lot to look at. But yeah, like I said, you can change stuff, so you're not locked in. But yeah, it's pretty easy, to be honest. It just looks like a lot. So yeah, do I recommend the game? And do I like the game? Heck yes! I love the game. I think it might be my favorite game at the moment. Not just ARPGs. It's my favorite game. I've spent a few hours playing it, like every day for like the last few days. Do I recommend it? Yes, again. I will say, but with minor caveats. So, if you've got a lot of time in the original Path of Exile, I could see there being a possibility where some people won't like the changes. I can see some of my friends not liking the slowdown and like preferring original Path of Exile, and mainly because they've got a lot of time with it and they love it. And that's fine. Path of Exile is a fantastic game. It's free. So if you're on the fence, like, go check out like Path of Exile just to see if you even like ARPGs. But if you got like some money and you want to spend, you know, some time playing Path of Exile 2, go for it. But if you're on the fence or you haven't played an ARPG game, I'd just say wait 6 months till it goes free to play and check it out. And also, if you just got no money, like, you know, it's all good, you know. Doodly-dee. Oh yeah, future me. This is a future edit. If you do buy Path of Exile early in early access, you can get a various amount of coins. If you buy like the €27 bundle, you get like 300 coins. Stash tab, trust me. Save your money for stash tabs. So yeah, I just had to get this off my chest. I've been having a fantastic time with Path of Exile. So thank you GGGG Games. Good stuff. Thanks for making my week. Yeah, go play the game. Alright, thanks for watching, and yeah, if you made it this far, consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, you know, definitely helps the channel grow. And leave your opinions if you play Path of Exile 2. Like I said, I'm a filthy casual. If you've got like a lot of like, you know, if you've delved into these games, you know, you might have some different opinions, and that's fair enough, because like I said, I'm a pretty surface player for these games. So yeah, thanks for watching, take care, see you again soon.